Hello everybody and welcome back to my tiny kitchen. I figured got some dinner to get going, so I figured I'd bring you along for this one. What we're going to do tonight is a recipe that Mike actually will eat the chicken out of. He's not a big chicken fan, but I'm going to make chicken broccoli with a cream sauce that's going to be covered with a shredded cheddar cheese melted over the top of it to finish it off. So what we're going to start with now is I need a medium onion. So I'm going to get my onion cut up here for you. I'm trying to do this on an angle where y'all can see because, like I said, my tiny kitchen, it's kind of hard to get a good angle anywhere. So I'm just going to cut this all off of here. And there we go. And I'm not a chef, so you're probably gonna all have a cow on the way that I cut it. But guess what? I'm not a chef, I'm a cook. So I'm doing a decent chop or a dice on this. It isn't gonna be anything really spectacular. I just want to get it chunked up. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna saute the onion here in a minute in a little bit of butter to get it clarified. With onions, it's very hard when you're doing a casserole or a dish in the oven. It's kind of hard with onions. If you don't saute them first, they don't always cook well in your dish. They still stay raw, and I don't want anything raw. So there, I've got my onion cut, and my next step will be to throw it in a saucepan and throw it in a pan and get it sauteed. I've got my pan set on medium high, and it's starting to get warm here, so I'm going to add my butter and let that start to melt a little bit. And then I'm going to add my onion, get that in there, and I don't want this to be caramelized. I just want it clarified or clear. So we're going to do a light saute on this just to get the onions going for the dish, and then once they're done, we'll let them cool off before we mix everything together. This really shouldn't take that long. Of course, with this burner, I never know. Turn it up just a little bit. Yeah, we'll sit that there. We're back, and as you can tell by the sizzle, it is sauteing pretty good. The butter's still got to melt a little bit, but it's getting there, and you can tell that when they're ready they won't be white. They'll be a clear color. They will turn white and they'll start to clear out a little bit. It won't be completely clear, but the onions will get a clarified look to them, so to speak. And like I said, this doesn't take that long. Used a tablespoon of butter and about a medium onion. These smell so good. I used to hate onions when I was a kid, and it came down with the flu, and my mom and dad had made some roasted onions, and shortly after that I got sick and I couldn't eat onions for the longest time. I'm to a point now where I can tolerate cooked onions in something. To just eat them raw, it's kind of difficult still. It's just the smell and the flavor I don't care for, but when it's cooked, it's fine. And we're pretty much there with the onions. So I'm going to shut this off, remove it from the heat, and then we'll get started on the rest of the dish. Okay, before I get everything else going here, I'm going to season. I have 2 chicken thighs with skin on, and I'm going to season them with my salt, pepper, garlic really quickly. Just sprinkle some on there. And then flip that over. Season both sides well. We're going to set these aside so we can get our sauce started for the dish. And we'll be back for that in a minute. I'm still waiting on my onions to cool. Okay, my onions are cooled. So we're going to go ahead and start assembling the sauce for the chicken asparagus dish. So let's get these onions in here. Trying to get a different camera angle here so you can see things better. Hopefully you're not blurry, no. So there we go, we've got our onions in. And now to that, I'm going to add a heaping half of cup of sour cream. The original recipe called for mayonnaise, but we actually like the tang of the sour cream a little bit better in this dish. And then I'm going to add a 10.5 ounce can of cream of mushroom soup. I'm using condensed versus my own. It just works out a lot better. This is kind of a convenience dish, convenience comfort dish for us. So there you go. Get that in there. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. We like our Italian seasoning in this house. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of my salt, pepper, garlic blend that you all have seen in a video. And now we're going to mix this together. I don't want to add any more liquid to this because there's going to be liquid coming off of the chicken and the asparagus. I'm actually using a frozen asparagus for this. We get asparagus in the spring from farm friends of ours, and we freeze it in the spring, and then we have it throughout the summer and the winter. And that part is done. So now we're going to move on to assembly. Move that out of the way, and we'll move this dish in the way. So I've got a lot of asparagus. I got about 16 ounces of asparagus because we really like our asparagus. So I'm going to put that in. It goes in the bottom. Now this is still partially frozen. I'm hoping that it won't get too mushy, but with this dish the asparagus does get a little mushy, but that flavor's there and we just love it. So we're going to do that. Put that in. And I'm going to season that a little bit with salt, pepper, and garlic also. Just get that in there. And then next I'm going to put my 2 chicken breasts. I have 2 chicken breasts here. I'm going to put the 2 chicken breasts on top of the asparagus. And now we're going to add our mixture that we just mixed up. Dump that right over the top. Try to make it so you can see it. Now this will get juicier. As it cooks, it will get juicier. And I'm cooking this on a convection bake tonight. I've got the oven set at 350 convection bake because I'm hungry. It'll still cook nice. But I want to spread this all over the top of the dish. Make sure I get all the little bits and pieces covered here. Then I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil and put it in the oven and bake it for about 30 minutes. And then at 30 minutes I'll pull it out and I'm going to add about 1 cup to 2 cups of sharp cheddar cheese to the top of this and then put it back in the oven to finish baking. and melt that cheese and get the cheese a little melty. So now that we're at this part, let me come back to you after we get this out of the oven, and you can see what it looks like before I throw the cheese on it. Alright, I got my chicken out of the oven for the first round, and I did underestimate it. It really needed to cook for 45 minutes instead of 30 minutes on convection bake. And the last 15 minutes I did go ahead and take the top off so that it would start cooking in the middle, and it got all good and bubbly. So now I'm going to add my sharp cheddar cheese, and I don't have quite 2 cups of sharp cheddar tonight. I had a partial bag and I really didn't want to open another one, so we're using, this is about 1.5 cups. We like our cheese, so the more the merrier. So there we go, we got our cheese on. Now I'm going to pop this in the oven for another about 10-15 minutes just to get the cheese melted, get it a little brown, and then we'll be ready to plate. So let me get this back in the oven. Oh, this smells so good, and it is done. It is gooey, gooey, bubbly. The cheese is melted. Chicken's cooked. Asparagus is laying down in that beautiful sauce, and I'm getting ready to plate it up and eat it up, and I cannot wait. So I'd like to thank you all again for joining me. If you are interested, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you want to. If this is something you might think that your friends might be interested, the only thing I have left to do is plate it up, take a picture, and share it. So I'm wishing you all a very, very, very good night.